Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of map making, potentially called Foxy Boxes. Oh man, I'm glad to be I found some time to do another episode. I'm really excited because I'm really enjoying doing this series, and you guys seem to be enjoying it as well. People asking when the next episode is, stuff like that. Now, look at this. This is a beautiful Foxy box texture from Kovolta, which is an incredibly pleasurable name to say. Kovolta. I really enjoy it. I don't know if it's supposed to be sort of Russian sounding, but that's how I pronounce it. But it's got this really cool little foxes on the side. This is a furnace that's been retextured by him. As always, textures and things that I'm using and models and things are included in the GitHub repository linked below. So we've got this furnace thing. It's kind of cool because it's a furnace. We can rotate the orientation depending on stuff like that, which could be useful. And I had a quick chat with Beta the Data, about block modeling, and he says it's possible to have entirely different textures depending on orientation. So we could use a furnace, and depending on its orientation, have the texture completely change. So we could have different kinds of box. Why can't I break? Oh, okay, my mouse is just playing up a little bit there. He also made these beautiful foxy fox head crystal things, which are really cool. I think they look great. And they kind of messed up the floor over here. But there's all, what, 15, 16 colours of them available. And I've currently got the models set up to cover both the block and the items. So you can see them here, which is really cool. I don't think that I will find a use for all of the colours, but we can choose some ones we like, or we can just make the chests drop different colours depending on the level so that it looks pretty, kind of thing, like colour scheming it to the level maybe. Or, you know, we can have a different coloured main one of these to collect in every episode and just use like the white ones or maybe like the black ones for regular crates or something. So this episode, I'd quite like to play with, by the way, these render really strangely with armor stands. These are invisible armor stands here, by the way, if you're wondering how they're floating. Placed as a block, they're quite a bit bigger. So it's pretty cool. They've got a hitbox and everything. So yeah, this episode we're going to look a little bit at the bouncing mechanism for these crates. I'd really like it that if you jump on one of these crates, it makes you bounce. So we're going to look at three. We're going to play around with both the furnace and the slime block. The slime block naturally having its own bounce. And I'd like to just play around with some ideas. For example, I think that if you're here, right, and you jump on this box, the box should probably break. But if you were to say, also I'm trying to decide whether to give players jump boosts so that it's a little bit, they can jump a little bit higher. That might be like an extra block higher, would be kind of cool. So I'm thinking that if, say that you jumped and the very top of your jump you land on a box, I don't think the box should break. I think there should be some velocity involved, so you have to be falling at a certain speed for the box to break. So I kind of want to play with that. We need to work on jump detection anyway, because we've got these two special attacks, right? We've got click and we've got right click. And we were working on the first episode or two on detecting click and right click, and I'd like it so that depending on what you're doing, those buttons do different things. So I think a ground pound attack would be quite cool. So if you use one of your attacks at the moment that you're at the top of your jump, so here, then the ground pound activates. So it's kind of a timed or a conditional it's a combo move, basically, I think. So we're going to have to work on jump detection anyway if we can. But I'm going to try and play around with a few things. So we've got the option of letting people, if we use slime blocks, people can bounce off them like that, and they can get a pretty high jump off the slime block if they hit it right and move on to the next part of the level, which is kind of cool because we can have jumps made out of crates that break when you hit them, so you kind of get this one chance to make this jump. But there's things like, you saw that, like I can bounce really far if I do this, but if I hold space when hitting the crate, which to me feels very intuitive, I don't bounce very high because space cancels out your jump. So we can try using an explosion to propel the player but I worry that might be kind of tricky to do. I mean, I don't think it's very controllable being launched by an explosion, and it might not feel very intuitive or very comfortable for controls. So, gonna try playing around with explosions, and the other thing we can do is jump boost. So, if you land on a cauldron, you are given jump boost for just a moment so that you can launch off the crate. Now, this means that if you don't press space, you will not go anywhere. You'll just stop on the crate. In which case, I think if there was another crate. If there was another crate below this one, you would fall and it would do this, boop, and then you wouldn't have enough velocity to break the next crate. So maybe that's what would happen, and then maybe you can do that to break the next one. So it does that kind of thing, Let's see what happens. So I believe there's a jump height stat. I'm hoping there is. Scoreboard objectives add jump, stat dot jump, what, jump one, jump, stat dot jump, I don't know what stat dot jump, I don't know if that counts how many times you have jumped or how high you have jumped. So let's just try adding that and stick it in here, because we keep backups of every objective that we create, and my right click isn't working. Okay, there we go. So, scoreboard objectives, set display sidebar, jump. What happens when we jump? Damn. Okay, so that's marking whether we have jumped. That might not be incredibly useful. Now, I know there's a fall 1 centimeter objective. So we could try this, and I believe you have to take damage for it to count the. No. It doesn't count the fall until you hit the ground, I believe. So if I add that, scoreboard objectives, set display sidebar fall. I think I have to be in game mode 0 potentially, or maybe it only counts it if you take. Oh, there we go. It counted it then. So when I just jump, it doesn't count it at all. If I jump, or if I do that, but if I do that, it does. So I guess you have to fall more than a meter for it to register. That's kind of annoying. I was hoping we can count like the height, the rise of the player, so we can calculate its velocity. We probably can calculate velocity based on. We'd need to detect it. We need to compare 2 points, I think. I'm going to have to think about this a second. Hang on. Okay, so I think I've got a solution. I think I've worked out how to do this, and I really hope this works, because I think if we give ourselves jump boost, then a regular jump will be registered. Because the problem we have here is if I just jump, it doesn't register. However, I suspect effect sparks Minecraft jump boost. Yeah, see, we're jumping higher, I think, but it's recalculated whether it actually marks the stat or not, because we haven't technically fallen, which is kind of annoying. Let me just jump boost for 1 second. Okay, that's the duration, so let's do 10 seconds at level 1, which should let us go up 2 blocks. Yeah, so it. Oh, I'm in game mode 0. And re-effect. Okay, so jump. Crap. It only registers it if we fall. If we end up further down than when we started, I think. Let me just. Hang on a second. Okay, so if I'm here, right? I've got some snow layers here. So this one is 1 level below the other. Let's just see if it registers this. So when I jump here, 809, no change. If I jump across to here, no, nothing. So I have to fall further than that for it to register. I wonder if it's a whole block. What if I do? I'm not sure that has a hitbox. I'm going to do that. That does have a hitbox. Okay, so game mode 0, 809. Yeah, so you got to fall what looks to be a block lower than you started for it to register in the stat. That's really, really annoying. Because we could, I mean, we've got the jump stat. We can tell when somebody started to jump. We also have the on ground MBT tag to tell when they've landed, so we can tell how long they've been in the air for. But you may well be in the air for quite some time, jump all the way up to the top of here, but not have very much downward velocity. Okay, so I'm in the very center of this block here, and I'm going to summon an armor stand called Radius, and this armor stand is going to say hi to me every time I get within 0 blocks of it. So I'm looking straight down here. It starts announcing it when I get within a block, within... So right here. It's not even like halfway through the block that it starts. That's strange. It's like half a block. There, yeah, so within half a block of the centers, that's 1 block's distance from the center point to, well, not even. Yeah, I guess it's 1 block within 1 block of the center of that block, which puts it, well, that would put it halfway. That's very odd. What I'm wondering is if I can put decimals in this, if I can tell it to say hi to me if I am 0.5 blocks away. Because maybe we can use that to tell how fast a player is moving. So where is it going to say hi now? It doesn't say it at all. Oh, okay, that's no good then. So we can't tell exactly how far a player is. The smallest measurement we can do is a block. So I was thinking that while a player is jumping, I could summon armor stands around him, and use that to work out how quickly they're moving. But if we don't have very accurate ways of telling how far from the armor stand the player is, then we may not be able to do that. Okay, guys. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I've got a setup here. It's kind of crazy. So I've created an in-air dummy scoreboard, and we set everyone to 0 for in-air, and we set the in-air score to 1 for everyone who's not on the ground. So basically, when I jump, when I'm in the air, this score is 1. Now, anyone with an in-air score of 1 is going to summon an armor stand 20 blocks above them, called Velocity, without any gravity. Now, I've currently got this one here set to anyone in adventure mode, so it's not doing it right now, but it'll summon every tick an armor stand called Velocity with no gravity, 20 blocks above the player. Once it's done that, we're going to add 1 to the in-air score of that armor stand. And once the armor stand reaches an in-air score of 10, meaning it's been alive for 10 ticks, we kill it. So basically this is going to leave a trail of armor stands behind any jumping player, or above any jumping player. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to set every player's velocity score to 0, and then every armor stand called Velocity with the player within 0 blocks of 20 blocks below it, so i.e. right next to the armor stand, it adds 1 to the velocity score. So basically our velocity score gets higher depending on how many armor stands are at our location. So I haven't tried this yet, but the idea is the larger the number, the slower we're moving, which is a bit counterintuitive, but it could work for us. This is the sort of thing I'd never do in a survival Minecraft game mode 4 kind of world. Hopefully it's not too laggy here. So I'm going to get rid of the mode equals 2 thing here. Oh, I'm not in the air. Okay, so when I jump, our velocity was briefly... Right, so I'm in the air, and it's got up to 9, and it's stopped there. Now if I move, it kind of drops. So if I'm moving fast enough, it drops to 2 or 1. So the faster we're moving, the lower that number, with currently a max of 9. Now I can up that number, but I don't think there's any need. So I had a velocity of 1 when I hit the ground there, meaning I'm moving quite quickly. But if I jump up here, I think it was something like 6. This could potentially work, because I'm going up, right? And as soon as I reach the pinnacle, as soon as I reach the top, this number starts going up, meaning I'm going slowly. And then as I start to sink, it goes back to 1. So maybe we can do this every time a player jumps. They're currently visible just so I can see what's going on, but yeah, maybe. So a regular jump brings our velocity to like 3, which actually suggests we're moving kind of quick. It's going to be... That was at 4, I think. I'm not sure how accurate this is. That seemed to be 6. Let's display our velocity when we jump onto a furnace. So let's go execute at P, detect a furnace of any orientation. Okay, I went to a tellraw generator. This is supposed to display the velocity objective for the nearest player, for anyone with an in-air score of 1 on top of a furnace. So let's put down a furnace. So boop, 6, and I jump 3. Okay, so boop, 6, 3, 3, 3. So regular jump is giving us 3, and this is something that we want to break the crate. Now if we do this, 6, which means we're moving slower. The higher the number, the slower we're moving. And it's only currently displaying that number if we land on a furnace. So 4, 6, 6. I wonder if we do this. If we're moving horizontally faster, it's going to give us a different score. Yeah, I got a 3 there for moving quickly. I got a 2, which suggested we were moving really fast, when in fact, vertically we're not moving very fast. That's unfortunate. So for just dealing with horizontals, sorry, with verticals, this works really well. But as soon as we're like speeding through a level, we're gonna get numbers that don't work for us. I just tried something else, which I don't know whether it's just doesn't work or if I'm doing it wrong. But basically now I've got the same in-air score as before here, and then I summon a mat of a 3x3 of armor stands, all called velocity, in a square around me. And it's not really quite working the way I want it to, but the idea is that these are 20 blocks above me, and I set the velocity of anyone who's on the ground to 0. And then here I execute on any armor stand called velocity 18.5. I've tried like 19.5, like areas around 20. Players add at P equals 1. Oh, I think I might know what I've done wrong here. The idea is that it adds 1 to your velocity if you are near it. So because they're detecting a little bit below you, so they should be checking here, but if they check slightly below that, the idea was that it would only trigger as you were falling, because falling brought you slightly closer to the armor stands. But I think because they're being killed every tick, that isn't happening. Now, I could try moving this to the start of this fill clock. Like so. And disabling that one temporarily. So at this point, they're killed at the end of the tick, so they might... There's a tick where they're around, but they're not moving kind of thing. So they're summoned, the player falls a bit, and then they're killed. I think the detection... I think the summoning needs to be done after the detection, so they're around longer. Okay, so this has been moved over now. So the first thing we do is we calculate the velocity. I'm just going to change this back to 0. Then we kill the armor stands. Then we summon the armor stands again. So this means that the armor stands are summoned. There's a tick, and then the velocity is calculated, and the and the armor stands are killed, and then the next lot are summoned, which I think means that they'll be around for 2 ticks, or for more than a tick. I think this execution order may help. So when we rise, okay, we're still getting a velocity score. I may need to play around with this here, the 20.5. So it's supposed to be checking for us further down than they'd expect. So they're 20 blocks away from us, but they're actually checking. Let's try 21 and just see what happens. So we're rising, nothing happens. We're falling. Oh, look at that. It worked. So that's giving us a fall velocity of 2. If we fall from up here, we get a fall velocity of something else. We've still got the velocity display for the furnaces, so let's just go over here a bit. So it's not doing it anymore. Hang on. I'm setting the velocity to 0 at the end of this clock here. Probably want to do this over here before everything else. So that's giving us a velocity of 1 when we hit that. That gives us a velocity of 0. That gives us a velocity of 4. Now what happens if we do this? That was 0, which is what it does like that. Let's put a furnace down on the ground level with us here and jump onto it. 2. And if we just jump onto it like this? 2. We may have it. Oh! We may have this. What happens if we do this? 9. 10. I think we may have it. That gives us 2. That gives us 0. That gives us 0. So even though we're moving really quickly, it's still... Now what happens if we move really quickly and jump on it like from here? So we're going forwards 5. Okay. Interesting. I think we may have something here. Yeah, this is looking very promising. This was suggested by G-Snap, so shout out to him. I'm in a Redstoner chat where I sometimes go for help and sometimes give help occasionally. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So it does occasionally give us a 2 instead of a 1, but for now, let's go with that. I think it might be useful. We can rotate it as well. We can swap it so that there's a mat of command blocks checking higher than us as well, and then we can check for the upward velocity as well as downward velocity. And if they're both 0, then we know the players reached the peak of their jump, which we can use maybe next episode to calculate ground pounds and stuff like that. So what I'd like to try doing now is breaking the crate if we have a high enough velocity, but giving us enough time to jump off of it before it's destroyed. So I'm going to go over here, and I think we're going to have to extend this. This is the box interaction clock, so I'm going to change that to 15. We can expand this a little bit, and we've got some more space to work. Things are a little bit messy here. I can get rid of that now. So I think our velocity is still set by the time we reach this point in the clock, because the velocity is reset at the end here, so but it's worked out here, so we should be good. So let's break the furnace if the player has the correct velocity. The problem here might be that the crate breaks before we land and push off of it. So execute at E at P, score velocity. Why is my velocity 25 right now? I think I'm flying, that's why. Score velocity is at least 1. Min equals 1. Detect a furnace of any orientation for the time being. Set block Minecraft air destroy. 0 destroy. So that should not destroy the crate when I step on it like this, but if I jump on it, it breaks it. That's pretty cool. I don't think I can push off it though in time. And no, it breaks it before I have a chance. We need some sort of... They need to be marked as being on the ground or something. I wonder if I can add a... maybe a simple fix will just be putting score in air. Score in air equals 0. Like that. So maybe that'll fix it. So we jump up on here and then we... Boop! Hey! Look at that. So we can give people a jump boost effect. The reason I kind of like this is because you can potentially have like a stack of crates like this, right? And then you can have a slime block here. And okay, so this is the cool thing here is that we can do quite large jumps, but if the jump is right, we don't actually break the crate. So in this scenario here, we land on the crate without destroying it, which is kind of cool. And we can do things like break that one and move on to the next one, and you got to it sort of turns into a chain reaction kind of thing. We can also potentially... I wonder what happens if I jump on this first crate here. What happens when I land on the one below it? Boop. Nothing. That's really cool. I like that a lot. So I can do this to quickly break through a chest full of things by holding space. But if I want to stop, I can by letting go of space. I think that's kind of an interesting mechanic. It lets you interact with these crates in lots of different ways depending on how you behave, and provides some interesting puzzles. That was interesting. They didn't quite break when I jumped on them there. So I don't know, that feels kind of cool to me. We've got two ways of breaking these crates now. I mean, one of them is still a slime block. We need to change that over to the furnaces. I think furnaces are probably a good move. There's now two ways of breaking these crates: jumping on them or standing under them and jumping under them. So we still need to work on breaking them from above, gives you the items. I think I might do that off camera. It's pretty much stuff we've covered before in the previous episodes. Next episode, due to quite a few requests, let's take a look at some special attacks by combining the click and right click and doing some stuff like conditional combo attacks like I talked about at the start of the episode. But I think that's us covered for this episode. The thing that we did today, the whole jumping velocity, took a lot longer than I expected, and I think I want to play with it a bit more, maybe in a later episode, giving people jump boost or trying to launch them with explosions, because I wasn't expecting this whole whether to break the crate to be so complicated. But yeah, I think we'll take a break from the crates next episode and go ahead and play with some special attacks. So thank you as always for the amazing submissions. Let me just get the name. It's Kovolta for these beautiful glass blocks, fox heads, and for the Foxy Boxes texture. Thank you to Duck Jr. for supplying these crates. We might not end up using this texture because I really like the box. What do people think about this game being called Foxy Boxes? I kind of like it. If anyone wants to come up with like a storyline, like a reason why these levels are happening, then let me know. Ooh, next episode I want to show you some people design some levels as well, which is kind of cool. They render in front of each other. That's really odd. So, yeah, I got 2 levels designed by some of the people on Zoomer's public server, and they'll be excellent testing levels. So next episode, very excited. Thank you for watching as always. See you then.